In this episode of Getting to Know the TS27, I'm going to be talking hockey goalies, Immortality, and OP. But first, the gameplay in the background that you're going to be watching is some Modern Warfare 2. Got a couple of gameplays from that. Plus, I also have a leftover gameplay from Call of Duty Ghosts, believe it or not. Even though I went through a stretch of like 6 months without playing the game, I still have some leftover gameplay hanging around, so I figured I might as well bookend this particular episode with some of that. And as always, if you've got a question for me for next time, make sure to leave it down in the comments section and I'll get to it next time. You'll have your question up on the big screen in the bright lights on a Schwantz video. So let's get started here. First question is a very complicated question that can take a whole paragraph to write, but I will make it simple, says Ray's Gaming Channel. Schwantz, do you like snapping turtles or box turtles? I like turtles. Anyway, I don't know if he's asking like an either or kind of scenario here. I think I know the difference between the two. For a snapping turtle, if you have a turtle with a gigantic tail and it's kind of brownish in color, that is your snapping turtle. Box turtle are going to be black with those like yellowish markings, and they will have a more like dome-shaped shell versus kind of one that's flatter. But I don't care. I'm not like huge into turtles or anything like that. I've never had a turtle as a pet. My mom has actually had a turtle as a pet, but the only pets that I've ever had are the two cats that I have. And his next question is, how do you feel about penguins? Actually, I love penguins. Penguins are my favorite animals. I don't know why. I think they are just fucking awesome with the way they look and the way that they are. They're birds, but they don't fly, and they swim really well, which is kind of strange. But I think that they're cool. So cool, in fact, that I have actually adopted my very own penguin. That's right. If you go to seabirds.org, you could adopt a penguin of your choosing. My penguin is fucking awesome. I named him Miller after the beer Miller Lite because that's what I used to like to drink in college. And what they do is for $55 a year, you kind of supplement scientific research and conservation of penguins on the Falkland Islands, which is off the coast of Argentina. Yes, there are penguins that do live in South America, and yes, there are also penguins that live in Africa too. They're not just Antarctic penguins. Anyways, so if you give $55 a year to them, they will tag the nest, and that nest is going to be your penguin. It's illegal to mark the actual penguin, but they always come back to the same nest. So if you tag the nest, then you'll get the same penguin back every time. So I get pictures, I get educated. It's actually fucking awesome to do this. So if you got an extra $55 laying around, or if you want a good gift idea for somebody, I should have probably put this out before Christmas time, right? If you want to make a good gift idea for somebody, adopt them a penguin. JSugar01, South Park or Family Guy? Family Guy to me is more funny. There are South Park episodes that are flat out fucking terrible. Some of them are very hit or miss, but the ones that are good are very, very good. Family Guy is kind of formulaic to it sometimes, and it feels a little bit awkward, and sometimes when they do those cutscenes, it kind of drags on, but they're both, you know, halfway decent shows. I don't really watch that much TV, though, to be honest with you. The only thing I watch is sports, you know, so that's the only reason really why I have cable. My wife likes to watch TV a lot more than I do. Who do I think are the top 3 hockey goalies ever is his next question. I'm just going to go with, you know, hockey goalies that I actually have seen. So obviously there are goalies from like, you know, the 70s and before that were much better than, you know, the people that I'll mention, but I never get to see them play, so I don't know. First has got to be Dominik Hasek. He won the Vezina Trophy a record 6 times after they changed the criteria for being allowing the least amount of goals in a season or the best goals against average in a season to the best individual hockey goalie. So they made it more like an MVP award, not based on a statistic after like 1981 or 82 or some shit like that. The next person would have to be Patrick Waugh. He was the person that kind of introduced the butterfly style, although Hasek did it a little bit too. But he was the one that introduced, I guess, the butterfly style to most of the NHL. He was also considered one of the greatest goalies of all time, won multiple Stanley Cups. And then lastly, I'm going to say, even though he was part of a system that helped his goals against average and helped you by playing defense first and the trap system, I think Marty Brodeur is a great goalie. You cannot have numbers like that just based on the system alone. You have to have somebody that fits the system, and I think that he fit the system very well. And that's not to take away from his individual kind of efforts, but I think he's also a pretty good goalie. I'd put Mike Richter in there as well. But I only got 3 spots, so those are the 3 that I'm going to go with. Mysterious Cheese. Why is your music taste so incredible? See, it's very strange to me. My dad used to like the southern rock, kind of like Lynyrd Skynyrd, Neil Young type of stuff. And my mom was very much into the funk/disco kind of era. So naturally, the progression from that is, you know, me being a metalhead and also liking, you know, the hardcore underground hip-hop music. So I think it's kind of strange how, you know, my parents, you know, what they used to like to listen to kind of propagated onto me, and kind of, you know, if you extrapolated it, that's what it would be. But I think my music taste is so incredible because I am not very good at doing any other artistic means of expression. I am terrible at drawing and painting and shit like that. Believe it or not, I was also terrible in English class. I was not a very good writer, not very good at sculpting or any other means of creatively expressing myself except for music. And I think music, I get it, because music is also very formulaic and mathematical, and I am a very mathematical-minded person. So when you have rhythms that are in 4/4 and you have 8 notes and things like that, and that's how I could wrap my head around music, is it's very mathematical, and there's a reason why, you know, certain chord progressions work. There's a reason why certain notes work here and don't work there, and I think that that's why I could appreciate good or different music, is because I understand how the structure works in a lot of these different things, because I am so mathematically inclined. That's the way my brain kind of works. And for being an artistic person, your brain shouldn't work, I guess, in a mathematical or a logical state, but more as kind of an emotional state. However, I'm very mathematical oriented, and music, I think, is the only artistic form of expression that's very mathematically rooted, as opposed to art or sculpting or not art, but rather painting, sculpting, and other things like that. Trumo asks, will you ever realize the rest of your music to YouTube? I think he means release here. A little bit of autocorrect got in the way. The music that I have on my band, you could listen to it on Bandcamp. You could listen to the full songs. The reason why I don't put it on YouTube is because there's really not a point to put the other tracks onto YouTube. I guess I'm kind of from like a bygone era when there actually were music videos, back when MTV actually did play music fucking videos, not this fucking reality show bullshit that they do nowadays. But I feel that YouTube is more for music videos, and since we haven't recorded an actual music video, just putting, you know, a picture of the album cover with the song in the background, there's kind of no point to doing it when we already have it on sites like Bandcamp and SoundCloud, and you could already buy the full album on places like iTunes and Amazon. There's no point. It's redundant. I mean, they're already on other websites. The only reason to not release them onto YouTube, which, I mean, me and the bandmates had a discussion about this, is that it's very easy to download songs off of YouTube. And we paid a lot of money to have these songs recorded and produced, only to, you know, just have people steal them. It kind of sucks. But of course, there's no way to ever prevent it. It's the fucking internet, right? But doing yourself some justice and limiting it is probably the best way to do it. And I know that a lot of people go onto YouTube looking for music, but we're on other websites like Spotify, like Pandora, so I think people will find our music either way without all of the songs being on YouTube. The Timon asks, so here's my question. What if you were immortal, where you could never die no matter how much pain you take? You could just reform your body parts, and no matter what, you can't die. Well, there's one body part I'd like to reform right now, if you know what I mean. But no, I would hate this. I would hate to be immortal. I don't want to live to be that long. Honestly, you'd run out of shit to do after a while. You know, you'd want to just be like, fuck it, I'm done with this shit. And plus, I don't want to fucking be in that kind of pain. You know, every day having to reform your organs because you're like 342 and your fucking nose is falling off and shit. No thanks. I'll pass on the immortality. Personally, I'm not that fucking selfish. This planet is not made for one person to be on it for ever and ever and ever. Many different people and life forms have to have a part of, you know, the universe and the way it's shaped. It would be extremely selfish for me to take up all this motherfucking space and not be able to have somebody else do it as well. Bros Shock. Would you rather start a game of Pokemon with Charmander, Mudkip, or Pikachu? I would personally choose Mudkip. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about because I don't play Pokemon. Pokemon's like a phenomenon that just passed me by. I think I was too old when Pokemon started coming out. It's just not my thing. Remember, I used to have a fucking Tamagotchi back in middle school, motherfuckers. That's how old I am, okay? So it started in 96. So I was, 13 years old when that was occurred. So I think it's more for like little, obviously there are older people that do play it, but it's more for a younger generation. So that generation, my generation rather, completely missed out on the Pokemon train. I do know people who do play it, but those are people that are, you know, people that are into these kind of things. That's not my thing. Bruce Wayne asks, hey Schwantz, would you consider making a video in the near future filled with moments of you raging at the Xbox One and naming the video Rage Against the Machine? I think it would be hilarious. I'm sure that I have enough moments of me in my rage montages of me yelling at the Xbox One that I could probably already make a video, you know, out of this, and then I would obviously put a Rage Against the Machine song behind it in order to go with it. So maybe I'll consider doing that, but like I said, you know, it's all like old clips at this point. I've unplugged my Kinect, and honestly, since I've unplugged the Kinect, it's been a million times better. There's not times when it's accidentally popping a bing in the me playing a fucking game. There's not times when it accidentally kicks me back to the home page because of some stupid shit I said. So, you know, there haven't been a lot of newer rage moments of me raging at the Xbox One. Zahid Chavez asks, has your wife ever got mad at you because you were raging at a game? Of course. It's quite annoying when you have someone, which is me, yelling at the fucking TV when somebody else is trying to do something in peace. When I moved into this house, we originally were very happy with it because I was going to be on the first floor and she was going to be on the third floor, so I had all the space in the world to rage at the game. Unfortunately, the soundproofing isn't that great between floors, only between buildings, so she could still hear me on the top floor. So yeah, of course she'll get annoyed at me for yelling at a game, you know, and I try not to do it as much when she is at home because I have to respect her privacy as well. But if you want to know more about how my wife feels about my rage, I will leave a couple of videos in the description where we did a dual comp so that you could listen to the whole thing and get a better understanding from her perspective. Moldy Butt Please asks, hey Schwantz, how long have you been with OP? I just looked this up, and my first video on the Overpowered channel went up on June 27th, 2013. So from this date, which is what, the 29th of December, I have been with Overpowered for exactly 18 months and 2 days. So that's a little bit more than a year and a half. So I've been with OP for a pretty long time in terms of being with one particular YouTube team. And I really enjoy what I do for Overpowered, the top 5 plays, the not top 5 plays, and some of the editing that I do with the team challenges and the rage montages. I just like collaborating with people that also are very good at creating unique sorts of content. So that's why I enjoy doing what I do on the Overpowered channel. It's given me an opportunity to do series that are probably not possible on my own channel. I don't think I could get the amount of clips in on my own personal channel to do like a top 5 series. I do have a top 5 with a top 5 only in Battlefield moments. However, I maybe have about a handful of clips each time I do it. Whereas if I do it on OP, I get about 60 clips every week for those 2 different series. And the second half of this question is, who do you think rages the most in OP? Gotta go with Coots. He'll fucking rage at anything, and it's hysterical listening to him rage. He will drop or throw his controller at just pretty much anything. Not to mention, the Scottish accent just makes everything 1,000 times fucking funnier. Retro Moddingmer 102, are you liking Advanced Warfare so far? Is it better or worse than you expected? I still do enjoy Advanced Warfare. I know that there are still glaring issues. The emphasis on the skill-based matchmaking and the connections are still fucking abysmal and something that they need to fix motherfucking immediately. But other than that, I still think it's a pretty goddamn good game. I know that a lot of people are having, you know, issues here and there with certain things, and believe me, as somebody who does the not top 5 plays, I've seen my fair share of what the fuck moments that is like, dude, this video game rather could not possibly have taken 3 years to develop because of all of the fucking problems with it. Especially like the out of map exploit things. Come on, fellas. Those are easy fucking things to test. But anyways, I digress. I still enjoy Advanced Warfare. However, there's a little caveat here, and I don't play it as often as I used to play other Call of Duty games. Modern Warfare 3, I played 35 days of Modern Warfare 3 in its kind of life cycle. There is no way I'm playing nearly as much of that as I am this game, Advanced Warfare. You cannot play one game so often you'll burn yourself out on it. And I like to keep switching it up between Battlefield 4 and Titanfall and playing on the PC every once in a while. And then I also like to play Advanced Warfare every once in a while. Don't play to get gameplays either. I play to just have fun and fuck around. And I think that that's what this game is geared towards. People that want to have fun and fuck around. The people that do get the gameplays, I don't think they like Advanced Warfare that much because, 1, the skill-based matchmaking, and 2, the game is pretty unpredictable as far as spawns are concerned and lines of traffic and the way that the map flows. You know, when you add things like the mobility in this game, it's almost impossible to keep track or to condense flow into 1 or 2 certain areas. Now, of course, there will be areas where people will migrate to, but when you have people flying in all over the fucking place, then it's a problem. I also think that the aim assist on console is a little bit too strong, especially for those people that aren't moving and zipping around the map. So I do think that that is a problem that needs to be addressed, and it is better than I expected. Of course, I don't have high expectations of Call of Duty anymore, especially after Black Ops 2 and Call of Duty Ghosts. I was pretty pumped about Black Ops 2 because I enjoyed Modern Warfare 3 and I hated Black Ops, but I was like, this game looks like it's going to be better than the original Black Ops because, you know, it's got all of these things well thought out. It is competitive focused and etc., etc. However, the game didn't function properly for me. The game's hit detection was terrible, the connections were terrible, player models were off, camera angles were off. To me, Black Ops 2 did not function, and I think it might be a product of it being the last game on the old gen systems that really couldn't handle it, because the game plays a bit better on the PC. And Call of Duty Ghosts was just an abysmally designed game from the start. I had no expectations of Call of Duty Ghosts, and they were even worse than my 0 expectations. That game was worse than expecting nothing. So Advanced Warfare for me, I still do enjoy it, but like I said, I don't play too much of it. And if I did, I'd probably pull my fucking hair out. Luna Rims asks, okay, what's your favorite position during sex? Dick and vagina. That is my favorite position during sex. As long as that's going on, I don't really fucking care. Anything else, it's all gravy, baby. And last and certainly not least, Fire-Breathing Potato gives me a math question. Hey, Schwantz, what is 9 plus 10? The answer is the annexation of Puerto Rico. If anybody knows what movie that's from, you get a fucking cookie down in the comment section. If you got a question for me for next time, something I didn't cover, please leave it down in the comment section as well. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of getting to know the Schwantz 27. Out like 3 strikes at a baseball game. Until next time.